In the next several minutes, you are invited to travel with the mission team from the First Congregational Church of Waterville, Maine, to the Central American country of Honduras. Our 21-member church team traveled to San Buenaventura in Honduras just after Christmas in 2003 and returned home shortly after New Year's in 2004. While in Honduras, their mission was twofold: to help in the construction of a building and to render medical treatment to local inhabitants. The construction mission involved work to build a second-story cement floor on an existing building in order to create living quarters for the local church minister and his family above a medical clinic on the first floor. The medical mission that was carried out by a medical team from the Waterville congregation set up a clinic inside the church sanctuary, where on the first day the clinic was open, they treated more than 100 people. Over the course of the mission trip, several more clinics would be held in and around the San Buenaventura community. This was one of 3 missions from the main conference of the United Church of Christ, which also included mission trips by Westbrook Warren Congregational Church and the York Association. This video is the story of these projects, but more than that, it is the story of God's people from Maine and Honduras, gathering together, learning about each other, sharing their faith, playing, singing, working, having fun together, and in that togetherness, truly knowing that we are the church wherever we are, and that God works through us, with us, and in us.
When I came to this church as pastor, I found out that the church really wanted to do mission trips. And I have had experience in doing mission trips, and I know that lives are changed when you do hands-on mission, and strong relationships are developed, and it's a really life-changing experience for those who go. And I wanted this church to have that possibility.
I just thought it would be a tremendous experience for the family, for the children, broaden their horizons a little bit, and give us a nice family experience to share, as well as being able to reach out to folks from another culture in different circumstances.
I just went home and said I really want to go, and that was my decision. I just decided at that point that that's something I was going to do, and I wasn't going to take no for an answer. So
I thought it'd be a great opportunity, a great experience, especially to go to a third world country, and I'd never been to Central America. I barely get out of the state of Maine, so I thought that would be neat, and I really looked forward to working down there with other people.
My friends seemed excited that I was going, and they all wanted to hear about my trip when I got back, so they were all supportive of it.
The reason that I wanted to go to Honduras, when I was on the search committee to find a minister, reading all the profiles, there were a lot of candidates that had gone on mission trips, and in the back of my mind I was wondering, why hasn't our church really done any mission trips? And when we were asked, that's when I decided I wanted to go.
We took 2 years to prepare for the trip. We gathered together and first of all decided when we wanted to go, and got a group of people who were interested in going, and then we spent many meetings learning about Honduras, learning about the Evangelical and Reformed Church, trying to learn some Spanish, and we did a lot of fundraising in that 2 years. So it was a long process, but through the process of preparation, again, a lot of relationships were built, and it was good. It was an incredible amount of work, a lot of behind-the-scenes work that probably nobody realized happened, but it was necessary for the trip to run as smoothly as it did.
I think we just decided that we needed to have faith that everything was going to be all right. We were going there to do God's work, and we had all worked very hard to make that come true. We had a lot of faith in the people that we were going with.
I wasn't too concerned. I mean, I know there'd been a lot of problems down there in Nicaragua and other places with civil wars, but I just wasn't going to let it influence my decision, I guess.
I was, I think, a little in awe over the passion that these people have down there. dealing with their faith. Their faith is a huge part of their life, and they are just so passionate in their, going to church, in their singing, in their praying, taking care of one another. It's a family. That's, one of the days at work, on lunchtime there, when I was sign languaging, trying to ask some of the guys were there, they were talking about, I heard, family, and I was asking them, are you all related? And they said, well, we're all family. And I wasn't sure. I thought, geez, they don't look like one another. But what he explained to me later was that they're not all related, but they treat themselves as one family. If somebody gets hurt, somebody will take care of them.
I think we got the bonds we formed not only with the Hondurans, but also with our friends from our own congregation were made much stronger. The thing that I was impressed with is the Hondurans, I asked Alice one night because they're in church 3 hours and they pray loudly. And one night I asked her, what do they pray for? Because they have very little. I said, do you think they pray for the stuff they're thankful for, the stuff they have, or do you think they're sitting there praying for the stuff that they wish they had? And I'm not sure we ever got an answer, but I think the answer is probably a little bit both. Yeah. So that's one of the things that really stuck with me.
Church services were really nice, and they really welcomed us, and it was really uplifting to have the kids just run up to you and like accept you and not care, and they're really clingy, so you knew that they liked you. And going up to the mountains where the village was really poor, that was like spiritual because it made you realize how well you had it. And even the people back down in Aventura had it really well compared to them up there. Like some people had no clothes and you just wanted to like give them your clothes that you had with you. And just going back, it was like made you think about everything and think of all your friends and everything you have.
It was kind of hard for me because there were these people that had, they were living in poverty, some of them. They didn't have shoes, they didn't have a lot of what I have, and they were able to go to church and just shout and praise. It was very different. It was a very different style of worship from what I'm used to. So coming back here, I was kind of like, well, if they're able to be happy about what they have and they shout and they praise and they just sing loudly and they jump up and they all hug each other, then we should be able to do the same thing because we have a lot more than they have, and we should be grateful for what we have when they have so little and they're grateful for what they have too. So
the realization that I don't need all the little things that I think I need when I go to Walmart or the DVD player and all that. They have so little but so much. And it's just amazing that they put all of their energy into just surviving and being faithful. And we think we have a lot here, and we do. However, a lot of the material things that we have are just material things and really not needed.
My favorite part of the trip was the soccer games that we played with the kids, because even though I couldn't really talk to them, they always understood what I meant. And I would say, you go up and take that kid and he'd know what I meant, but I couldn't talk to them besides that. It's sort of frustrating, but...
So do you think that the fact that you were playing a sport, sort of how they say sports are sort of like a universal language? And because they had the understanding of the sport and you had the understanding of the sport, you guys could kind of come together that way, or... Did you have some favorite friends there?
Yeah, well, you wouldn't know them anyways.
Tell them about some of the boys.
You might give them their names. They may see this tape, Mike.
Franco, right?
Yeah, Franco and Carlos and Jorge.
The Hondurans, I mean, they live out their faith. I was thinking, part of the way they live out their faith is through praying. And, they would pray before we would go anywhere on the bus, and I think we really did need prayers before we went on that bus, because that was a wild bus ride. But you would get into somebody's car to go somewhere, and they'd have a prayer before they went wherever they were going. Our son Jonathan, celebrated his 21st birthday, our last day there, and they prayed for him. They all got around him and they prayed for him. He said, I never had anybody pray for me on my birthday like that. So, you know, the spiritual was just woven into the, you know, the whole texture of their life. And I think for us who sometimes separate, you know, our spiritual from, you know, the other activities in our life, it was just a wonderful model for us of how we can really, you know, live out our faith wherever we are and what we are doing. And that left a lasting spiritual impression on me.
People shouldn't shy away from coming because they feel they can't do the work, because I truly feel that a lot of the work is the fellowship. Mm-hmm. And it's just as important to sit with a little child in your lap and enjoy that and have the parents experience you relating with their child as it is to scrape paint off a wall or carry concrete blocks up to the second floor, which was Abby's favorite thing.
Work on the ceiling.
I wish everybody in our country could spend at least a week in a third world country to make us all, again, appreciate what we do have. I think there'd probably be a lot less complaining and griping about the cost of things and paying taxes and all this, which we probably will always do. But it was seeing how the simple life that they lead, I was in envy of them. We have so many outside pressures to deal with here. Stress is a big thing. I'm not sure if those people know what stress is other than just the stress of survival, maybe. But they lead simple lives and they enjoy every moment of them. They don't have all the outside pressures that we do here of going places, all the things that we have in our life, which we think are conveniences, and probably they are. But down there, we don't need them, and they certainly didn't need them.
I think that if we can put a plug in to recruit people for our next trip, I think that there really is no age limit to, you know, people who want to come. Young people, old people. I think that they're welcome, and I think they would, you know, have an incredible time, and it's not something to be missed.
In late February through the 1st of March in 2004, 15 people from the Westbrook Warren Church went to a mountain village in Concepcion del Norte, Santa Barbara, Honduras, to begin their mission. The team's work project was to stucco the inside of the minister's house that had been previously built and was left standing for a year and a half before the team arrived and therefore was uninhabitable. They worked side by side with their Honduran hosts, learning how to stucco the Honduran way, mixing cement on the ground and making sure that the right amounts of water, sand, and cement were mixed. The cement was then transferred to the work site in makeshift cement cradles. The team fashioned their own wooden trowels to a specific size in order to begin slapping on the stucco to building walls. The stuccoing process is not easy, yet all through the work, the team came to enjoy the experience of learning, laughing, and making Christian friendships that will last a lifetime. To date, 3 UCC church communities from Maine have sent mission teams into Honduras as part of a 7-year commitment or covenant with the Evangelical and Reformed Church in that country.
One night we were in church. In the middle of this service, the minister's wife came and tapped me on the shoulder and asked me to come outside because there was a woman from the congregation who was sick. And so I went out with her, and she led me back to one of these little shacks that stood behind the church, and there was a woman who was unconscious. But little by little she came to. Before she did wake up, though, I had tried everything, and I just couldn't get her to sort of come around. And the minister and some of the women from the church asked if they could pray. And At first I thought they were asking whether they should go in the church and pray for her, and I said, oh yeah, by all means, go ahead and do that. Well, they stood over her and all put their hands on her, and they started to pray. And Hondurans, when they pray, it's not like when we pray. They pray really loudly, and they all say something completely different. And so there were like, 12 voices all kind of, chattering at once. And they must have prayed for a good 5 minutes, and after they prayed, the woman opened her eyes, sat up, and said that she wanted to go home. So later on that evening, I was talking to the minister, and I thanked him, and I told him, I said, Antonio, I said, you really did that. It wasn't me. I said, I think it was you. And so he sort of smiled, and he kind of pointed, and he says, no, it was El Señor.